Well, hey folks, welcome back. Last piece of the puzzle. I really shouldn't say that, but I think this is the last piece of the puzzle to get this old 69 Ford into a reliable daily driver. And once I get to that point, I'd be really happy because then I can start doing the restoration steps. Let's go take a look under the hood. So right now this truck has what's called a vapor locking issue. And it's due to the type of fuel that modern vehicles have. It's got ethanol in it, and it's not the same fuel that was around when these engines were first built, which was fuel that had lead in it. So the alcohol or the ethanol will lower the boiling point, and once your engine gets hot, that fuel will actually start boiling down here in the fuel pump and also in the fuel line right here coming up to the carburetor. And what that does is it boils, it creates a vapor, like it's basically an air bubble, and the pump can't get the fuel past it into the carburetor. So the way you defeat that is you got to keep fuel flowing so that it doesn't stick around in this line long enough to boil. So they make this fuel filter here that's got two outlets on it. One's a 5/16, one is a 1/4 inch, and we use the 1/4 inch as a return line to the fuel tank. So this will get installed right here, and then I'll attach a fuel line going back down and around and back to the fuel tank. That way the pump is constantly pumping fresh fuel through this fuel line at all times and never really has a chance to get too hot. And I'm also going to insulate all these lines as well. That way the carburetor doesn't starve for fuel anymore and we can drive it. So back in the bench, I got a few things. Got a few fittings. I got 25 feet of 1/4 inch fuel line here. I've got this special filter. Got some hand fittings here. One for going into the fuel tank, one for up here like this. Right, I got some extra, what do you call it, hose clamps, and I got this insulating stuff that's titanium and I think Kevlar. Anyway, let's go behind the seat. I'll show you what I've done so far. So I drained the tank out, pulled the tank again, and I installed this fitting right here that I can hook up the fuel line to. And it was pretty simple. Drill a 1/2 inch hole, put this thing in there, and it's like a crush fitting, kind of like a riv nut or a pop rivet. And supposedly they work really well, but we're gonna find out. So I got to run a line from here back down through the floorboard, across behind the frame, and then up to the engine. And it's gonna be a bit of a pickle because my intention is to get that fuel line from the tank all the way up to right here, up and around to right there in one piece. And that is so I don't have any compression fittings. Oh, that sounds bright. No compression fittings, and it'll be one piece, and that eliminates potential leak points. So we're gonna get over here on the bench and start straightening out some of this tubing so we can start threading it through this truck and hopefully not make too big of a mess of it. All right, first thing I gotta do is I gotta make this tubing one straight piece. So I got a hole drilled through this 2x8 here, and I'm gonna pull it through to help make it straight. Get the cap back on so we get the dirt out of it. You know, but this stuff might not need to roll it through this block of wood. It's coming out pretty straight all by itself. Just by doing it by hand. You guys need to stay off the floor. I think I can avoid running through this block of wood. Seems to be pretty soft metal here. Zinc coated steel is what it says it is. Alright, so I guess the next thing I'll do, since I'm going to unroll this as I use it, is go drill a hole in the frame of the truck to fit this grommet right here. Alright, so here's the hole I intend to use. I really need to get rid of this old fuel line and fuel tank, but haven't got to it yet. But I need to auger it out to 5/8 of an inch to accommodate that grommet. I think I grabbed my dull step bit. Yeah, I did. I gotta go get the sharp one. Well, this one should be a lot sharper than the one I just had. There we go. That fuel line will go right there. That goes up into the cab. And I'll just elbow down, head over to that hole where I'll put a grommet. Then it'll stay on the inside of the frame rail and be nice and safe there. So I'm gonna go figure out how I'm gonna get that thing rolled into there. Okay. This is one of the things when you're a one-man show, you don't have somebody to hold the camera. Took me about an hour to get that line ran through there, and it would have taken me about 3 if I was trying to video everything. So, pardon me, but let's go and I'll show you where we're at and what we're going to do next. All right, here in the cab, sun is making lighting crazy. Got the fuel line up here, comes up through the floor down here, got a rubber grommet down there. Next thing to do here is put the hand fitting on there and get that plumbed up. And under the hood, I have the fuel line coming up right here, basically following exactly where the original fuel line is, and it's all out here on the the driveway right now. So the next thing to do is I'm gonna carefully bend it up, follow this original fuel line up. That way I can slip the insulation over both lines and get the fittings up here by the carburetor. So yeah, it's time to do that right now. All right, let's get this set up here for the filter. We got to get these fittings tightened. Those are both 7. No, that's 16, and boy, not enough wrenches. I understand you don't want to over tighten these. I've never used these fittings before, but I looked it up to make sure. You want them tight, but you don't want them crazy tight. Like, get to the point of good resistance and then just go a tiny bit more. This is the compression fitting for the fuel line. Alright, so we want to do this number right here. So, got a piece of short fuel line. Get a clamp on there. Get a second clamp on there. Get these tightened up. See, that's metric, and that's really frustrating. So I got to get a little tiny socket for that. It's ridiculous. Don't have any idea what size it is. Looks like a 6mm. Nice and tight. We don't want leaks. Okay. I think it's time to go put this under the hood. Well, here we are. We got to get this fuel line coaxed into place here. I think I want to pull this one up just a little bit. Get a little bit farther away from the water pump. It's really surprising how easy this stuff bends, which is a good thing. Something like that. That insulating tube should fit over both those lines pretty decent. I think I'm going to throw a couple zip ties on there to kind of hold it where it's at right now, though. I'm gonna move you guys up on top. All right, here's where we're at. My neighbors were supervising their kids really loudly, so I just turned the camera off and I got things done. All right, so here's our fitting into the tank. Works like a rib nut or a pop rivet, if you will. Just drill a 1/2 inch hole, put it in there, tighten the bolt. Works pretty good. Some AN fittings here, compression to 1/4 inch fuel line, and that works its way all the way back under the hood, which is where we're going now. All right, here under the hood, let's go back down here. Fuel line comes up here, and I just followed the other fuel line, the supply line, right up to here. I got some insulation on here. The filter's right here. The bypass or return comes through here and heads right back to the tank. So looks pretty good. I'm gonna start it up here in a while, check for leaks, and I'll let you know what I find out.